So, what he did, what Spemann did, he cut the primary organizer from an embryo, from a fetus, and implanted it in another fetus, in another embryo. And he found that another fetus beside beside the first fetus, he found the growth of another embryo, the growth of another fetus. And he concluded that it is the primary organizer which stimulated the cells in the guest embryo to form another embryo. Okay. So, remember, what did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said about this? From this part, a man is created. From this part, a man is created. In another word, from the primitive streak and node that form at the beginning of the embryo development, after 15 days from the ovum fertilization. Yes. Okay. So, this is a witness for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A witness for the truthfulness of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Can you imagine this? A man lived 14 centuries ago in darkness among the society, in darkness of his era, with no information about such thing. We are talking about thing that nobody can see through his eyes. And it is impossible for anyone to come to the conclusion that a small strand is the responsible of the human body formation. No one can imagine this at all. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not go to the graves and took the bodies from the graves and start to do some experiments in order to take this coccyx from the body and start to do some experiments in order to find such fact. He did not do this at all. But it is a revelation from Allah the Almighty who created this body. That's it. Okay, so let us continue our discussion with Hans Spemann. We haven't finished with Spemann. The primary organizer does not perish. Does not perish at all. Who said this? Spemann. When Spemann crushed the primary organizer in one experiment and then implanted it in a second fetus, the crushing did not affect it, thus a secondary embryonic annuli grew. Wow. So, same thing. The primary organizer does not perish. when it was crushed in one experiment. So, in another experiment, Hans Spemann did another experiment, and he found that when he boiled the primary organizer in another experiment and then implanted it in a second fetus, the boiling did not affect it again. Thus, a secondary embryonic annulate growth. So, we are talking about the part from which a human body is formed. So, Hansman proved that the primary organizer does not perish, stay there, even after such treatments. Okay. We said that the remain of the primitive streak and node form the what? The Coccyx. Forms what? The Coccyx. Okay. Also, the Coccyx does not perish. Not only the primitive streak and node from which a human body organs are formed does not perish, but also the remain of this primitive streak and node called the Coccyx also does not perish. You stay there. Okay. We listen to some Chinese scientists who treated the Coccyx in different ways in order to examine whether this part perished or not. So, what they did? Chinese scientists proved that it is impossible for the Coccyx to totally perish in the strongest acids or through burning and bonding or by subjecting it to different types of radiation. So, the Coccyx does not perish. The cells of the Coccyx are not killed by any treatment. Stay there. Stay there. Until what? Until what? Until the day of resurrection.